Good morning, everybody. We're in the Mutiny Kitchen, and I wanted to talk about something you might have in your kitchen or storage area or basement or attic that might be kind of pertinent to what's going on right now. It is March 17th, 2020, and the coronavirus is spreading, so everybody, well, not everybody's in a panic, but there's a lot of things that are happening. Businesses closing, social distancing happening, shelves in grocery stores are emptying. A lot of us probably have bread machines laying around that we have not used for maybe even years because they're kind of bulky, cumbersome, and not as easy as grabbing a loaf of bread at the store. But these days, it might be easier to just bake your own bread. So, just wanted to show you with a few ingredients that you could have fresh baked bread probably in a shorter amount of time than it would take to go to the grocery store these days. So if you haven't already gotten rid of your bread machine, here's something hopefully that will help you out during this time or get you back on track with baking your own bread at home, which would be tastier and healthier anyway. All right, so the first thing I try to remember to do is to take the actual baking pan out of the bread machine, just so that if I spill the ingredients, it's not on the heating element. So just set that out. And this recipe is gonna go against everything your bread machine tells you to do, but just trust me. Um, Super simple. We're gonna take 1 cup of warm water, and then I use bulk yeast. So this is active dry yeast, so it's a big old 2-pound bag, so it'd last me a really long time. And this is active dry yeast. You may have bread machine yeast. Either one of those, you just want to measure out 1.5 teaspoons. Sprinkle it over your warm water. If you're using the packages, just measure out your 1.5 teaspoons. A package is normally 2.25 teaspoons, so you want to actually open it and measure it. And then to this, you want to add 2 tablespoons of sugar. I'm just using white sugar because that's what I have. You could use brown sugar or honey. And then we're going to let that sit for about 10 minutes. Okay, so we'll check back in a few minutes. All right, it's been 10 minutes. I covered mine because it's really cold in my house this morning, just to keep the warmth in. So after 10 minutes, check on it. You can see my yeast got kind of foamy. So it's nice active yeast. And ready to add my other ingredients. So to this, I'm going to add 1/4 cup of olive oil. I'm using olive oil because that's the oil I have. And then 3 cups of flour. One thing I will say about measuring out flour is that if you're getting really dense bread, it's just not rising right, just be sure you're not packing your measuring cup really tight with flour. So sometimes we have a tendency to want to just scoop it and, kind of push down and measure, and it packs that flour in there, so you actually end up with too much. So you can still scoop it, just kind of fluff it, level it, take a knife and actually level it. You can see how much extra flour I would have had if I would have just dumped that right in there. So just don't pack your flour. So 3 cups, we're going to use a teaspoon of salt. So I'm notorious for measuring over top of my mixing bowl, which often means I use too much because I spill a little. So you technically should measure off to the side. 1 teaspoon of salt. So that's it. All that stuff goes in to the bread baking portion of your bread machine, and then this is going to go inside our machine. Mine just snaps in. So just push down, make sure that's in there nice and snug so that the mixing blade can do its job. And then this is just a basic white bread. My machine here, yours will probably be different, but my machine actually has a basic setting. I think all of them do. So I'm just going to have the menu on number 1. And you can see here the default for mine is already at number 1. The only other thing to do is hit start. And the machine does its magic. It starts mixing all the ingredients. It'll let it rest and then it will knead it again, let it rise, and then it'll bake it all on its own. So here you can just do this little bit and then walk away and come back in 3 hours and 25 minutes and you'll have a loaf of bread. All right, guys, just wanted to show you the bread when it's done. So it's a nice loaf here. I sliced a piece off. Very lovely. So you won't have to run to the grocery store to buy bread. If you have your bread machine sitting and collecting dust, put that tool to use. Very nice. Makes you hungry, I'm sure. So put that bread machine to use. Avoid the lines, or if they're out of bread at the store. Obviously, you can bake bread by hand, but just a nice way to dust off an old appliance that you may have laying around. We're all stuck at home. Might as well put some skills to use or learn some new skills. And you guys take care. Thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button below. Hit the little bell next to it if you want to be notified of new videos. And we'll talk to you later.